Every few months, we hear another financial statistic. Inflation, interest rates, housing prices, employment numbers. Most people hear those reports and simply move on with their day. But every once in a while, a statistic deserves our attention. This is one of them. Consumer debt in America has reached another record high. Even more concerning, it hasn't happened overnight. Debt has been climbing steadily for well over a decade, with one of the largest increases occurring during the past 5 years. Think about that. This isn't a short-term trend. It's becoming a long-term financial pattern. The question is, why? Many people immediately assume Americans are simply spending too much. Certainly that happens, but I don't believe that's the entire story. For many families, debt isn't increasing because they're taking extravagant vacations, or buying luxury cars, or living beyond their means. It's increasing because everyday life has become dramatically more expensive. Groceries, fuel, insurance, medical care, utilities, vehicle repairs, home maintenance, property taxes. Almost every major household expense costs more than it did just a few years ago. At the same time, wages haven't increased at the same pace for many households. That's where the problem begins. When expenses rise faster than income, something has to fill the gap. For millions of Americans, that gap has been filled with debt. It starts innocently enough. A credit card pays for a transmission replacement, another pays for an unexpected medical bill. A home repair goes on another card. The refrigerator quits, the water heater leaks, the air conditioner stops working in the middle of July. One expense after another. Each one seems temporary. I'll pay it off next month. I'll catch up after my bonus. I'll get ahead once things slow down. But life rarely slows down. Another expense appears, then another. Eventually, temporary debt becomes permanent debt. Let's bring this closer to home. Imagine a homeowner named David. David bought his home several years ago. He has a good interest rate. He's never missed a mortgage payment. He has a steady job. Everything appears fine from the outside. But behind the scenes, things have changed. His homeowner's insurance has increased significantly. Property taxes are higher. His monthly grocery bill has climbed. His teenage daughter needs orthodontic work. One vehicle needs new tires. The second vehicle needs major repairs. Credit card balances begin growing. Not because David is irresponsible, because the monthly budget no longer stretches as far as it once did. Here's what concerns me. Many homeowners focus entirely on making the mortgage payment. And that's understandable. The house is the family's largest asset. Keeping the mortgage current feels like the highest priority. So what happens? The mortgage gets paid, but everything else goes on credit cards. At first, that strategy works. Then interest starts working against them. Instead of paying for one transmission, they're paying for the transmission and the interest. Instead of paying for one roof repair, they're paying for the repair and years of finance charges. Debt begins creating its own monthly payment. Now the household has another fixed expense and another and another. Before long, debt is competing directly with the mortgage payment. That's when homeowners begin feeling trapped. Let's talk about cash flow. Cash flow is different from wealth. A homeowner may have substantial equity. Their home may have appreciated significantly over the past several years. On paper, they look financially secure. But cash flow tells a different story. If income barely covers monthly obligations, if credit card balances continue growing, if savings continue shrinking, cash flow becomes the real problem. That's something many homeowners don't recognize until the pressure becomes significant. Let's discuss minimum payments. Credit card companies don't require homeowners to pay off their balances immediately. They ask for a minimum payment. That sounds manageable, until you realize interest continues accumulating. A balance that was intended to be temporary becomes long-term debt. The homeowner keeps making payments, but the balance barely moves. Eventually, another emergency appears. Now another balance is added. It's a cycle that's becoming increasingly common. Let's also talk about bankruptcy. No one plans to file bankruptcy. No one wakes up one morning and decides that's their goal. Bankruptcy usually happens after months or years of increasing financial pressure. Savings disappear. Credit cards reach their limits. Borrowing becomes more difficult. Monthly obligations exceed available income. Eventually, the math simply stops working. Will everyone with credit card debt file bankruptcy? Absolutely not. But as debt continues rising faster than income for many households, more families are likely to find themselves under increasing financial stress. That's why these statistics matter. They're not simply economic reports, they're warning signs. Let's connect this to home ownership. Financial pressure doesn't always begin with missed mortgage payments. It usually begins much earlier. Savings stop growing. Credit card balances increase. Home maintenance gets postponed. Retirement contributions are reduced. Unexpected repairs become emergencies instead of inconveniences. Those are the warning signs homeowners should recognize, because that's when the greatest number of options usually exists. Waiting rarely creates more flexibility. One of the biggest mistakes homeowners make is assuming they'll know when it's time to ask for help. Unfortunately, by the time many people reach that conclusion, they've already lost valuable options. Early conversations are different. Early conversations are educational. They're confidential. They're designed to help homeowners understand where they stand, not pressure them into making decisions. Sometimes, homeowners discover they're in much better shape than they thought. Sometimes they discover changes should be made sooner rather than later. Either way, information creates confidence. Confidence creates better decisions. Let's also talk about pride. Debt carries a stigma. Many people feel embarrassed discussing financial challenges. Please don't. Financial pressure affects people from every walk of life. Doctors, teachers, business owners, retirees, sales professionals, construction workers, young families, people living on fixed incomes. No profession is immune. No neighborhood is immune. No income level is completely immune. Life happens. The important question isn't whether life becomes expensive. It does. The important question is whether homeowners recognize the warning signs early enough to respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally. Hope is valuable, but hope is not a financial strategy. Information is, planning is, preparation is. If debt is increasing, if savings are shrinking, if monthly expenses continue growing, those aren't reasons to panic. They're reasons to become informed. Because homeowners who understand their financial position almost always make better decisions than homeowners who simply hope things improve. Let's talk about the Nevada Strategic Property Group. Nevada Strategic Property Group is a collaborative team serving homeowners throughout Northern Nevada, including myself, Skip Benton, Tony Taylor, and Savannah Lee with Coldwell Banker Select Real Estate, along with Angie Salcido of Premier Credit Solutions. As a certified short sale expert and certified distressed property expert, we've spent years helping homeowners understand their options before financial situations become overwhelming. Our mission isn't to convince homeowners to sell. Our mission is to educate, to answer questions, to explain options, and to help families make informed decisions based on facts rather than fear. If growing debt, rising monthly expenses, or concerns about your mortgage have you wondering what comes next, don't wait until financial pressure becomes a crisis. Start with information. Review your finances.